Hi everybody, I'm here in my garden. Have you ever eaten a plant before? I know I have, but thanks to the limitations of biological life, eating stuff like plants and people is about as crazy as things get. Like, have you ever wanted to eat a grenade before? Because I know I really have considered it, but I know that sounds painful. I don't want to do that. If only there was a way to somehow genetically modify something edible and make it a weapon. Plants vs. Zombies, a game series about plants and zombies doing what they do best, being planted and being zombies. Since 2009, this series has had a good amount of games. Only like 4 of them are good if I'm being honest though. So, what would happen in this universe if you ran out of food and you had to eat the living plants? Wait, all plants are living, hold on. What would happen in this universe if you had to eat the plants that are even more alive than the other plants? If you absolutely need to eat these genetically engineered abominations for your survival, which ones would actually be worth it? As a warning, I'm assuming you don't cook the plants and you do eat all of them with your bare hands. And I'm talking without weapons or without silverware to put them down. So you aren't getting rid of the funny walnut like Old Yeller. I'm also assuming that these plants value their lives and won't go down without a fight. So basically, we're taking the role of a zombie in this situation. I've counted a total of 367 unique plants, excluding the ones in Plants vs. Zombies Heroes, but including the ones that are exclusive to the Chinese versions of Plants vs. Zombies, because PopCap decided to make a Chinese branch of their company, which objectively made a better game. I also didn't read the comics, but from what I could tell, there wasn't any major unique plants there. From my research, I feel comfortable saying that 48 of these plants seem okay enough to eat. Though I wouldn't consider eating something like a whole and living weed, or a whole and living lemon, or that thing, what is that? There really aren't that many issues with this tier. At worst, these guys are temporarily freezing you, or have clothing on them. But again, these plants are all alive and have eyes, and they could probably question the purpose of life among other deep thoughts, just like humans. But otherwise, very cool, probably fine. What I could consider a smidge less cool and not nearly as tasty as tier 1 is tier 2, which I have dubbed probably okay, but maybe be a little careful when attempting to strangle and or consume these guys. All 68 of these plants are not nearly as safe to eat. Yes, for sure, I could eat the melon launchers, but why would I? They can just throw watermelons right next to me, and that sounds way easier to eat than eat the thing that shoots watermelons at high velocities. And really, if I'm being honest, that's all this tier is. All the pea shooters shoot peas, catapults plant catapults, fat beets make fat beets. I don't want to hurt these guys. They already produce something that's more valuable to me than them. But again, this ranking is about eating plants, not what they produce, so I do need to talk about what it would be like actually going for them. And even though I don't want to fight the watermelon catapult, I would if I had to. Of course, there are some outliers in this bunch, like the banana launcher. I don't want to eat it, but I could. And the garlics. I definitely don't want to eat them, but I sure could. And I also don't want to eat a tumbleweed. There is no joke here, I just don't think anyone should try and eat a tumbleweed. That sounds gross. All the potato mines are potatoes and therefore delicious. Doesn't matter if they blow a limb off, it's probably worth it. Spring beans and laser beans share an issue where they seem kinda hard to strangle with your giant man hands. Plus, eating one giant bean just that doesn't sound right. That doesn't feel right. That's a little bit gross, if I'm being honest. The Boing Setas also have this issue, but it's just a trampoline. We are eating a trampoline. You also want to be quick when trying to eat the bramble bush. I would personally try to snag the berries because otherwise you get stuck with a bunch of vines, and if that happens, it could make silly noises like youch, that looks painful. Thymorphs can teleport zombies. Apparently it can send you to the space-time turbulence. Cool name, definitely bad. Strawberries can summon a big ol' strawberry, so don't let it do that, I guess. Plumping Plummy has a funny name, that's all I remember about it. I know I've already talked about tumbleweeds, but I would still prefer eating them over asparagus. There is nothing wrong with a properly seasoned asparagus, but that looks disgusting. I don't know if this counts as a fish or not, but Seashroom is probably fine. The coffee beans are giant coffee beans. Doy, you dummy. I'm not concerned about eating them, but I am concerned of what would happen afterwards. Shamrock Star has a little beard. If you like eating clovers and hair, this is a good meal for you. It's just like the ruby red plant, which shoots rubies out of it, I think. I prefer not to eat rubies a second time, but you could make a good amount of money off of this little guy, and then you remember that, oh wait, this is an apocalypse. money doesn't have that much value anymore. Whoops. Pumpkin Witch throws funny little pumpkins, which would do that hair thing in Ratatouille, where they grab your scalp and shake you around. Get the jump on the funny fictional plant, and we're A-okay. Egret Flower is an airplane. I don't know how you could take on an airplane, but I could take on an airplane. And moving on to tier 3, we got some plants that are either right in the middle, or I just straight up cannot decide a good spot for them. Now I know what you're saying to yourself while scratching the chin at this point of the video. You're probably thinking about the walnuts, and you're going, hold on just a moment there, Choopo, you actual caveman. The walnut plants in this long-running series are harmless to an extent. Their sole purpose is to provide a defense to the plants behind them, with the only possible harmful endeavor of their plant physique is that they are creatures with eyes, and eyes are kind of gross. After an extended period of discussing plants based on their edibility, why are these plants classified as more dangerous to consume in contrast to other plants in lower tiers that are objectively more likely to risk pain and or death when upon consuming? Well, that's a great question. It's because I have a tree allergy, and that means I would endanger myself eating the walnuts, and I don't care. There's bias in this video, and I don't give a huckleberry hoot. Because of that, these 8 plants could be lowered, but they aren't. The boomerang plant is a plant that shoots boomerangs. I have it here because it looks hard and boomerangs taste bad, so that's where I'm putting it, I guess. Stunyon sounds like a Pokemon name, and also breathes gross fumes, which is overall a bad time. This is a plant helicopter. Don't put your fingers in the helicopter part, you will lose them. Stallius can shoot a puff of perfume. If you're anything like me, you know that drinking most perfumes is gross and tastes really bad. The fume shroom, perfume shroom, puff shroom, and Impatiens, that's a hard name to... They have a similar issue, but it isn't actually confirmed what the fumes are. The fourth one, that one shoots dye. And drinking paint dye is bad. You can tell that the gold leaf is made of gold because it's gold. I don't want to eat gold. EM Peach is a peach with a metal rod sticking out of it. I would treat it like chicken wings with bones and just, try to avoid eating the metal rod. Do I really need to explain what a hypnoshroom does? It hypnotizes. Cauliflower also hypnotizes, but that's not in the name. Kiwi Beast looks like it would try to bite me. If you like eating daisies, then the daisy chain might be alright. Just avoid being decapitated by them because that sounds painful. Same goes with the gardener grass. Please do not let it cut your arms off. That really sounds like it's painful. Holly barriers can shoot prickly prickles, but it might be okay for you to eat if you go around the prickles. I don't know. Ultimato has a sick name if I'm being honest, but it also explodes and shoots a massive laser when ripe, so you have to eat it when it's not ripe. I've eaten a lot of corrosive substances, and I've eaten a lot of things that are better and worse than this next guy. Out of every plant so far, I would not want to eat a cattail. It's a cat with a little cattail. That's adorable. I don't want to eat the cat guy. He seems like he would write me a birthday card and a Christmas card, and nobody does that anymore. I'll eat the tumbleweeds and giant beans, but roses is where I'll draw the line. The same goes with eating a raw and sentient pine cone. Do not eat raw and sentient pine cones. Nightcaps are ninja mushrooms. Other than trying to eat a ninja, seems fairly easy enough to manage if I'm being honest. The fairy ring mushroom is only here because it has a ring on it, and I don't know if you have to eat the ring or not. I would want to keep the ring. The Kale Storm's ranking is entirely based off if it has a lightning inside of it or if it summons lightning. I don't know, and that's why it's here. Master Cane's Windbreak Dendrobium, Splitting Stephina, Kunai Tapistra, Bromo Blade, Bonk Choi, and Nightshade not only have really cool names, but I'm pretty sure they could beat the hell out of me. Same goes with the Super Bean. Lastly on this tier, we got the Tiger Claw. Contrary to popular belief, this plant is not a tiger, but it likes to use people as human shields. The next tier we have is the plants that are probably a little bit more bad eat than the ones in the previous tiers, unless I got something wrong, because that is more of a probability than a possibility. So if you're a veteran of the series, you may notice that I have been avoiding most of a certain type of plant. Specifically the sunflower plants, or any type of plant that generates sun, are absolutely a little worse to eat than the ones in the previous tiers. My thought process behind this is, since they have the ability to produce the sun, they have the power of the sun. And if you know how hot the sun is, you would not want to take a bite out of it. The squash and butternut squash have this cool thing where they can jump really high and crush anyone who goofs with them. The shrinking violets require you to sneak up on them and unalive them instantly. In game, they can easily shrink the zombies in a lane. Overall, not good. Okay, imagine the previous plant, but instead of getting shrunk, you instantly die. I don't want to eat a monkey. I don't want to eat a cactus, and I definitely don't want to eat a cannon. Also, please don't eat balloons. The Boom Balloon flower is fine other than the fact that it produces explosive balloons. That is a 2-for-1 in not good things. Electric blueberry, electric fruit. Just a smidge above that, the electric currants are higher than the electric blueberry because I don't really like currants. The same thing goes with electric pea shooters, anthuriums, electricity. This sounds a bit repetitive, but I don't want to eat lightning. Same type of fruit, but different element. The icy currants. Again, don't like currants, do not eat currants. Parsnips are really cool, but they also have the ability to cut your limbs off, and that could make me yelp in discomfort. I didn't bother to research the mistletoe, but I would assume it's in the name. The acidic citrus is actually in the name. It produces a citrus that will melt your tongue and teeth and fingers and toes and elbows and just everything melt, gone, melt bad. I don't know what a hocus crocus is, but that does not look very fun to eat. The same goes with the gloom vine. I look at that, I don't want to eat that. Here's a bunch of mints I didn't bother researching because I never liked any of the mints in any of the games. And here's a bunch of other weeds that would be edible, but unfortunately they have stuff that isn't edible on top of them. Also, the ragweed. I'd assume the Gravitree can and will do mischievous gravity things. Raffleseas and Primal Raffleseas, they have a distrusting name. Marigolds basically do what the sun plants do, but instead of sun, they produce coins. I don't want to eat the coins. The snowy cotton and pushy willows don't have anything necessarily wrong with them, but I don't want to eat cotton. The same thing goes with magic shrooms, but eating cards is not nearly as bad as eating cotton. Imagine your tongue making contact with vanilla extract. If you like fighting hammer monsters and then eating a hammer, then I would recommend the hammer plant. And same goes with fishhook grass, but it's a fishhook. Lastly, I put the dartichoke here just because it happens to be a 2-for-1 deal. It shoots darts, which is bad, and it's an artichoke. So at this point, a good amount of the plants in the plant roster have been discussed, but the final tier is no thanks, because even if I had to eat any of these guys, I would say no thanks. Even I have my limits. I've already repeated myself quite a bit, but all of these plants essentially just have issues that previous plants have had, but more. So initially the chili bean is edible, but then look at what it does in game. The Infinite is one of the best plants in the series, but it's also a hologram. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea how you eat a hologram. It's like the hologram meatloaf from SpongeBob. If you have ever wanted to eat a ghost pepper that is also a ghost and a pepper at the same time, then don't. Look at the snap pea. Do I really have to make it? Do not eat glass either, or magnets. Also bowling balls. Have you ever tried to eat a bowling ball before? It's like eating the concrete balls at Target. You can't. It cannot be done. No. Anything that is flammable, like for sure flammable, like the fire pea shooter, automatically are here. Do not eat fire. For example, the Inferno plant is literally a fire tornado. That is not a pear. That is a crime against nature. Same with the Pomerguante. Originally, Draftadil was going to be way lower, but apparently daffodils are toxic. I was surprised a bit too. Same with hydrangeas. I haven't talked about any of the unique games specifically, but almost every playable plant in the Garden Warfare games are a no-go for me. Either way, most of these are just variants of plants anyway I've already talked about, including fire and toxic versions. Though there's a few plants I already put on lower tiers because I don't know, maybe they have better names, or bad times eating a dog made of wood. Oak, it's just an oak tree. Thorns. It's just thorns. Plantern. Just a plantern. Of all the Plants vs. Zombies crossovers possible, I was not expecting Cheetos. I don't want to eat the result of crossbreeding with Chester the Cheeto Cheetah. Explodo nuts. Explode. That's about it. Wait, no, that's not actually it. Pomegranates, cherry bomb, sticky bomb, rice, grapes of wrath, and grape shots all explode and would be the closest you can get to eating a grenade. So the Iron Maiden nut could actually be in tier 3, but I'm also considering the iron part here. Do you see the problem? And last but not least, that is a satellite. There's a lot of plants in this series and a lot of bad takes that are possibly in this video, and eventually in the comments. Let me know if I'm wrong or if I made a mistake by typing, "Geez, Choopo, you really fibbed up," followed by whatever you want to correct me on, because we all make mistakes sometimes. Some people can oversleep, some people play League of Legends for fun, and some people do whatever they can to look cool on the internet. Hey, wait a minute.